Well, we now have Kink Radio jumping on the I Hate Trimet bandwagon. Of all things, we have Kink Radio hating us too. So, well, let's see what Kink Radio said on this. This was just broadcast over their radio station. So let's see what it is. Trimet ridership may be down, but overly aggressive driving on the part of Trimet bus drivers is not. Kink considers curbing some of Trimet's misdeeds. Okay, we can all stand to be a bit more courteous on the roadways, motorists, bicyclists, pedestrians, and bus drivers, but we think Trimet drivers should set an example for courtesy and safe driving. After all, it's a government entity, and it takes in $200 million a year in local tax money over and over. Trimet operators are also driving 16 tons of steel. Lastly, we've observed bus driver after bus driver cutting car drivers off. It happens when a bus is stopped to pick up passengers and then pulls back into traffic, often in front of cars that are moving alongside the bus and have no way of seeing the bus turn signal or yield sign. A law passed 8 years ago requires that motorists move to the side and behind the bus yield sign, and we suspect that has empowered bus drivers to cut off drivers. We think legislators should put a sunset provision in that law. Second, the bus drivers continue to run red lights. There were 270 complaints last year, but undoubtedly the number of incidents are much higher. One driver who ran a red light crashed 3 buses in less than a year. We'd like to see more photo red lights at intersections and more ticketed bus drivers. We'd also like to see bus drivers who can move their buses up to the curb do so, and not let the butt end of the bus hang out blocking traffic. And we'd like Trimet management to get tougher on safety. The Oregonian's excellent commuting blogger Joseph Rose, my buddy, recently wrote that Trimet at first decided that the new cell phone law did not apply to them. But then after some publicity changed its mind. Driving a bus is stressful, physically difficult, and sometimes dangerous. Most Trimet drivers handle it well, but a large minority don't, and that should change. Oh, well, we're glad that Kink FM is an expert on the subject and that they know so much about it that they can actually come out with this kind of arrogant editorial. Yeah, after all, it's a government entity, and if it's a government entity, it must be has to be better than you. Is that what you're saying? After all, it's a government entity, therefore we're supposed to be better than the average citizens. What a crock of shit that is. You know, and then this part here, it happens when a bus driver stops to pick up passengers and then pulls back into traffic, often in front of cars that are moving alongside the bus and have no way of seeing the bus turn signal. Well, if they're alongside the bus and have no way of seeing the turn signal or yield sign, we would be crashing into them, wouldn't we, Mr. Whoever the fuck you are? I mean, that statement's a lie on the face of it, because if they were moving alongside the bus and the bus cut them off, they'd crash into the car. So that's crap. Now, the problem that buses have is that car drivers, do not yield. They do not yield to the yield sign. 1 in 10 car drivers will yield. It might be even less than that. So, the problem with that is car drivers, not bus drivers. So you got that backwards there, buddy. He thinks they should put a sunset law on that so that there's no yield law. So, in other words, never let the bus back into traffic. Brilliant idea. It's just brilliant. Boy, you know, Kink Radio, you just brilliant. Just let the bus sit there. I mean, during rush hour, it won't ever get out, according to you. Just leave it there for the whole rush hour. Buses stuck at the bus stop from 4 to 6 p.m. because nobody will let it out. Good thinking. Oh, boy. And now the red light thing. You know, are you aware, Mr. Radio, that lots of these lights change with just a split-second timing, and that there's people on our bus. We cannot just slam on the brakes at every light that happens to be turning, okay? We need to go through these intersections. Now, drivers that go through a solid red, that is an issue that should be addressed. If the light is solid red and the driver goes into that intersection while the light is red, obviously they should be penalized. But anybody that's moving right along and all of a sudden the light just changes, and some of them change haphazardly, that's not our fault, you know. If they had the signals timed appropriately, that wouldn't be happening. So that's another bogus charge that so many people are running red lights that it's a systemic problem, you know. And I would like, you know, to see the statistics on that. How many, you know, I would say that 75% of complaints that come in are bogus. Okay, that's the problem with your people looking at these things. 75% of the complaints are actually bogus. Somebody's pissed off at a driver, and so they send in a complaint. And you know, I've looked at a lot of these complaints myself, and most of them are bogus and or highly embellished. Okay, so you know, you really don't make any sense. Joseph Rose, on the other hand, you know, he's not exactly pro bus driver. He's done a lot to really hurt our image, and you know, I don't think he's a particularly unbiased character in this situation. Although he does have a good commuting blog, I read it myself. But you know, I'm not particularly happy with the way that he treats our bus drivers. Anyway, I don't see any of this Kink FM editorial as particularly accurate. You know, I'm not sure why the media is just so intent on destroying us, and each media outlet is just intent on destroying. Has it got to do with the contract? Again, you're not going to be happy until we're all fired or making $10 an hour, or what? What is it that the people of Portland want from us? What is it exactly? You want us to just not ever move? We just won't move the buses until and if the light isn't green when we get to the light, do you want us to just stop and wait for the light to turn, go through a sequence? Maybe that's what you want. You want us, unless we see the light being exactly turning green, we won't go through it at all. And that might satisfy you.